You know that naughty aisle at your local auto parts store that has a bunch of things that you know you shouldn't throw on your car? Oh, come on! You know, like those steering wheel covers, wiper wings, and these truck nuts. Yeah, if you take a stroll down the aisle and a few things fall into the shopping cart, you will have come looking like this and could end up leaving like this. So, here are 5 upgrades and an honorable mention that you should never, ever, ever do to your car. Let's go. Real quick, before we get started with today's video about subpar upgrades, you'll want to make sure that your car's running at peak performance. So this video is brought to you by Fixed. Essentially, it's a simple plug and play device that connects to an app on your phone and lets you know if something small or catastrophic is wrong with your car. This device essentially lets you have conversational catch with your car, so you're not the only one talking in this relationship. Link is in the description. Snag one now and you can thank me later. All right. Let's play a little game. For this first quote-unquote upgrade, I'm gonna say the first word of the mod, and you have to guess the second word. Wait, actions speak louder than words. So here's the first half. And if this didn't come to mind, well then I don't want to know what you were thinking, you sick. Yes, the fart can is probably the most iconic looked down upon mod that you can do. And it is so overdone that even most non-car enthusiasts know a fart can when they see one. By default, a lot of us are guilty of this, especially when we first get into the car game and we think that loud equals fast. So this spec detuning 4-inch Fireball style stainless steel muffler with a burnt tip, which you can buy from Walmart for $32.95. But anywho, I'm sure it sounds like a beehive and stings like a bee. And you know what's even worse than the sound of a fart can? The sound of a wet fart can. Wet, wet fart can. Wet, 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 wet fart can. But in the end, it's your car. Do whatever the you want with it. Now, what we have next is something that we just covered in the legendary video about the worst car trends in modern cars and trucks. So, go check that out. Because fake vents like the ones on the new Civic Type R, Subaru BRZ, and the Mark V Supra come from the factory that way, which just feels wrong. But what will get you noticed by the Twitter police is fake vents on your own jalopy. We all know that an aggressive look will get you more wanted and unwanted attention. But adding fake aftermarket chrome trim, hood scoops, or anything that gives off the appearance that your car is faster than it actually is definitely a no-no. It will make your car look cheaper than it already is. I'm gonna admit to you guys, and don't tell my girlfriend, that there was a time when the Fast and Furious franchise was pumping out amazing films and Need for Speed was the only game I would play.
I need your pink slip.
And I fell in love with neon. Yeah, the lights you slap on your car that transforms it into a credible candidate for the opening act of your favorite techno show. This mid-2000s mod exploded onto the car scene, but just as fast as it came, it has gone. Though, I was at SEMA last year, and man, oh man, the trucks had underglow to highlight every Fox suspension part they installed on their lifted rig. I mean, there are still unique use cases for it still today, but as a whole, it's fading away. And me personally owning a car with neon all over it probably won't ever happen. I guess a boy can dream, right? You want to know the secret to joining the big wang gang? Step 1, fire up the Wish app. Step 2, find the cheapest ricer wing you can buy. And for less than $60, you can make me holla. Well, and you get to join the gang. You want to know what that looks like? Now, for actual track cars, the spoiler can provide downforce and help keep your car planted on the road. And an ideal fact, it's called a spoiler because the main function is to spoil the unfavorable air movement across the body of the car. Think of what an airplane wing does, but turn that shit upside down. And if done correctly, wings can benefit rear wheel, front wheel, and all-wheel drive cars. But a big wang from Walmart won't help that poor Civic that has every mod that we've covered on this list so far. Now, before we get into that upgrade that is ruining local car scenes around the world, here is that honorable mention. I'm just gonna throw you guys some of the worst mods I've ever personally seen done. Those fucking fake badges and decals. Come on, you're not fooling anybody with that GTR badge on your V6 Mustang. It's one thing to throw a GTR badge on your Nissan whatever, though I'm definitely not condoning it. But man, when you completely ignore brand alignment, it just doesn't make any sense. Also, aluminum tire valve caps? What the actual There's a reason why tire valve caps are plastic. Some valve stems are made of brass, and with a little luck, there will be the right conditions for a chemical reaction, which will conveniently weld the caps onto the stem. The reason I know this is my buddy bought some aluminum valve caps, and when he got a low air pressure warning light, guess who he called? This guy. This guy. This guy. And yeah, you could say it was my weak fingers, but I couldn't get the valve cap off to pump more air into it. So after experimenting with a few different tools, we were able to use some pliers to ruin the valve cap and the valve. Essentially, the aluminum caps that he picked up for a few bucks turned into him replacing the whole tire for over 100 bones. And self-adhesive sunroofs are a thing, but not a thing that you should ever consider doing. And wiper wings, which supposedly give you more downforce, are completely worthless. And of course, we can't forget those fake-ass brakes. Like, what? Seriously, brakes are the last component that you want to mess with. Don't be a poser like me. Either get real brakes or spend your money elsewhere, because this stuff is just plain gross. Negative camber has positive effects when it's used correctly in racing. But what the actual too much negative camber, like the kind that you can keep your tire stickers on the actual tread of your tire and drive around, drive around, is probably the most dysfunctional thing that you can do to a car. Not only will the underside be bleeding out and screaming for mercy, but you'll also spend your entire lunch allowance maintaining this ridiculous setup than if you just left it as it was. Tell me in the comments why people think fashion comes before function, because honestly, I don't know. But what I do know is that you're ready to see the worst trends in modern cars and trucks, so click here. Or you can check out what YouTube recommends you watch next. Also, please subscribe and smash the like button like but either way, you can lose, and as always, keep living that ideal lifestyle.
Thank you. Yes, you finally did it.